Okay, so now you've got your scatter plot with your line of regression, and you've got the equation for the line of regression. Now you need to get the correlation coefficient for this line of regression. So I'll show you two ways to get it, one from the graph and another one using a function. Now, in this case, I think using a function in the spreadsheet is going to be easier. But let me show you the graph way to do it first. So the first thing you want to do is we want to, let's see here, right click on the graph and put format chart area and click on the line of regression here. So when you click on this line of regression that you did earlier, it shows you trend line options. And we've got a paint bucket, we've got a pentagon, which stands for effects, and then we have trend line options. So click the trend line options and scroll down. And earlier we clicked on this checkbox, which said display equation on chart. Click the checkbox below it, which says display the R squared value on the chart. So I'm going to left click that, and it gives me this R squared value. So I'm going to leave that up. I'm going to close this sidebar of options because we have what we need now. Now, R squared is not the correlation coefficient. R squared is actually the coefficient of determination, R squared, okay? And so that value is 0.7662. So I'm just typing that in. What we want is we want the correlation coefficient, which is actually the square root of the coefficient of determination. So what we want to do is take the square root of that number. You could do it in your calculator, but let me show you how to do it within the spreadsheet. So I'll double click in the cell so I can type in the cell. I'm going to hit an equal sign because I want to use a function. And I'm going to type in the letters SQR. Okay, that stands for square root. And you can see it's giving me this square root function as an option. So I'll click that, double click it. And now it wants a number that we want to take the square root of. I'm going to click this cell because that has the value that we want to take the square root of. And then I'll put right parentheses. And if I hit enter, this is the correlation coefficient for this line of regression. So you'll need this with the My Open Math problem that I made. But regardless of that, this is how you can calculate the correlation coefficient. Now, this is a roundabout way of doing it from this coefficient of determination, okay? What is maybe a more direct way to do it? So let's maybe just use a correlation coefficient function right off the bat. So what we can do is you've got all these different menus here at the top. If we go to the formulas menu, there's a couple ways to go about it. You can click on more functions, and then there's a statistics option. And this is the one we want, this correl function that stands for correlation, okay? That's one way you can get to it. Another way you can get to it is if we use this insert function button like we did before. Let's see, we could still select a category. We could do statistical, and then we could kind of look through these and go, oh, what's this? And it says, it returns the correlation coefficient between two data sets. There you go. So we can click OK. And, array 1 and array 2. So array 1 is your list of Y values. Array 2 is your list of X values. So my list of Y values, where my speed random variable and my speed random variable here is in column D. So that went from D2 to D242. And my range of X values, okay, my X values were along the X axis, so that was vertical height, and that is column E in my data set here. So I'm going to put from E2, oops, from E2 to E242. All right, and you can see it's actually pre-calculating that number for me. Those are the only two bits of information it needs. So Y values first, X values second. Click OK, and you'll see right down here, it gives me the correlation coefficient. This one is a little more accurate. You can see that they aren't quite exactly the same number. The reason is that this determinative coefficient number that I typed in, this was a rounded number. So taking the square root of a rounded number is going to give me a different answer than if I just calculated the correlation coefficient separately. So for me, the correlation coefficient was 0.875353721. All right. So those are two ways that you can get the correlation coefficient using Microsoft Excel. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.